Sur un appel au règlement.
Rising on a point of order.
I recognize the Honourable House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We just had a very important vote to Canadians, and the member from Avalon literally gave the finger to those Canadians as he stood to vote for our motion, which was to give them a break and a reprieve on home heating costs. He gave the finger to the senior choosing between heating and eating. He gave the finger to all those struggling to make ends meet in an unaffordable Canada. He gave the finger to all Canadians watching.
If I could ask the getting close to debate, but I see the honourable member rising. I'm assuming in response to the point of order. The honourable member.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I will rise on the same point of order. I scratched the side of my head with 2 fingers. So if they think it's 1 finger, that's up to them. They can take it how they like.
Do the honourable thing.
Colleagues, the honourable whip from the opposition.
That it's very unusual to scratch the side of your head with your middle finger as you are voting, and this is the second time I have had to rise in this place when a member from the government party has used that finger motion. Colleagues. We are now. Colleagues, I'm going to ask you to both take your seats, please. Please. I'm going to ask both of you to take your seats, please. Colleagues, we had a point of order raising a very serious issue in terms of comportment, decorum, and respect in this House. It was raised by the honourable member. The member to whom it was directed at rose and indicated that this was not done on purpose. I'm placed in a very difficult situation here. If honourable colleagues will allow me to take a look at this issue, but let me just say this. When members are often offered an opportunity to explain their actions, and they do, usually the matter is closed. This has raised some disorder in the House. I will take a look at that, and if necessary, I will come back to the House. But I hope that this will be the end of the points of order on this particular issue. The honourable member from South Shore, St. Margaret's, are you rising on the same point of order?
At a point of clarification or a point on
there is no point of clarification.
As a witness?
So I'm going to ask the honourable member. I just indicated to all members of this House that I'm going to take this issue. I'm going to take a look at the videotape, and I will come back to members if it's necessary. Is North Island, Peterborough South, is this on the same point of issue?
The chief whip of our party, you should be given the appropriate time to give the full merit to the situation, as is constitutional.
So I'm going to let members know. I heard the point that was raised by the honourable member. It's a point that is very serious. The honourable member who had concerned rose to offer an explanation. I am going to review the videotape on this and come back to the House if this is necessary. The honourable member from Gatineau and Chief Government Whip.
On a different point of order, Mr. Speaker, I would put it to you that during votes, the catcalls and the very oppressive screaming from the other sides is an intimidating and bullying tactic by members of the opposition to all members of this.
So I'm going to ask. All right. that strikes me as being on the same issue and the same matter, which I have already explained to this House what I'm going to be doing on this. So if there is no related point of order on this, I'm going to suggest that we move on to the business of the House. But I recognize the member, and I hope you heard my statement. I'll recognize a member from Battle Creek,
Grand Prairie.
Sorry, Battle River, Crowfoot.
Grand Prairie, Mackenzie. Or pardon me, you. Sorry. Very much, Mr. Speaker, and I think that if you look throughout the standing orders, you see very clearly that it is that when concerns are brought forward in this House, specifically when the Chief Opposition Whip brings forward a concern, Mr. Speaker, that it is absolutely essential and incumbent upon the Chair to ensure that she, in this case, she is heard in its entirety as the evidence being presented is key to ensuring that we can perform our parliamentary duties in this place. So, Mr. Speaker, to not allow the Chief Opposition Whip to finish her statement regarding something that, whether the governing or other parties like it or not, it is incumbent upon the Chair to ensure that the Chief Opposition Whip has a chance to be heard.
Let me assure all members that I understood very clearly the substance of what was raised and the act that was raised, and I had offered the member who was accused of making that act an opportunity to explain to the House, present his apologies. The member made an explanation. I am going to take this matter back. There is no more reason for us to be able to dispute this matter aside from holding up the affairs of this House. I'm trying to make sure that we conduct this way. But let me reassure all members that I take all of their interventions very carefully, but there is, to this point, I have not heard a new point of order which is being raised. The Honourable member, forgive me, from Grand Prairie, Mackenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think it's important for us to consider what has just happened. In this House, we had a member, the Chief Opposition Whip, that brought forward a very compelling, there's video evidence there, to prove...
Okay, I'm going, excuse me, all members, I'm going to ask, especially the leadership, I'm going to ask all members, please. Fair enough point from the member from Central Notre Dame, Coastal Bay Central Notre Dame. I'm going to ask the honourable member from Grand Prairie, Mackenzie, to get right to the point so that we can move on with the affairs of the House.
The point is, Mr. Speaker, you have made a great effort in your public comments to state that you want to bring decorum to this House. That is fundamentally undermined in the way in which this whole thing has unraveled. The Chief Opposition Whip was unable to express the evidence that was being put before you. The member from the Liberal Party stood up and said he was innocent while still indicating the gesture that he used, and then, Mr. Speaker, it was only after multiple other interventions before you said that you would take it back. Mr. Speaker, I believe that it undermines the public statements that you've made with regards to bringing decorum to this House.
I cannot. I'm certainly. I'm sorry. I regret that the member feels this way, but I feel, as this chair, is that I heard the point that was raised by the Chief Whip of the Opposition. It was an important point. The point was very well made. I wanted to hear if there are any new points to this. There were no new points which were raised to this. I have asked the honourable member to rise in this House. The member offered his excuse. I had indicated to all members, based on what was raised by the Honourable Honourable Whip of the Opposition, that I'm going to take a look at this matter and come back to the House if it is necessary to do so. I'm hoping that the member from Miramichi is rising on an issue, a new point of order. Because if it is on the same one, I think I've heard enough that we should move on to the next item of the House.